hi! Welcome back to the Theme Park Sensory Guide. We're going to talk about our first ride today. My name is Camille. I'm an annual pass holder to Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando, and I happen to be autistic, love theme parks, and important for today specifically, a certified ride chicken. Today we'll be touring the Imagination Institute's Sensory Labs as we ride Journey Into Imagination with Figment, a gentle family dark ride that's located in the Imagination Pavilion over at Walt Disney World's EPCOT. The story of the ride is that Dr. Nigel Channing, played by Monty Python's Eric Idle, takes you on a tour of the Institute where you learn about how the 5 human senses play a part in the imagination. And Figment, the cute purple dragon, hijacks the tour and becomes a lot of fun or a general nuisance depending on who you ask. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, Miss Ma'am, this is not a scary ride. Literal babies go on this attraction. However, I figured covering this specific ride first would be perfect for this portion of the series, as my sensory guide for the rides I plan to cover will be based on how each element of the ride affects the 5 senses, as well as giving a general idea of what it's like physically experiencing the attraction, stuff that you really can't get from a traditional POV. So let's get into it. Now, the main cue for the attraction, visually speaking, is colorful, and it's colorful enough. It's not super duper bright, but it's not super muted either. In fact, a lot of the colors within the queue are very pleasant to look at. There's also a lot of really fun references from lesser known Disney films in here, like Robin Williams' Flubber and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with Rick Moranis. Above both the Lightning Lane and standby queues are cute little screens with cute little animations of Figment already making his presence known. Towards the end of the queue, as you're approaching the loading station, there are some large windows where you can look into the play area called ImageWorks. Now, the visuals for the ride itself are honestly pretty basic and low-key boring, which is funny considering this is an attraction about imagination. Literally 90% of the ride is just boring stuff. So sensory-wise, from a visual perspective, it is very dimly lit in most of the scenes, and for the most part, the visuals aren't super busy, with the exception of the open house sequence and that finale scene, as well as one big bright flash towards the end. There's only one scene that has a specific smell to it, and that's in the appropriately named Smell Lab. Figment turns into a skunk and then emits into the room a skunk smell. But don't panic, it's not an actual skunk scent that's pumped into the room, but it's actually a burnt coffee smell. And the burnt coffee smell used in this ride is one that's never bugged me personally. I actually quite like it, but I just want to give the heads up. As for the queue sound-wise, it's got soft music in the background, but there is a lot of different overlapping sounds on top of the music, like the various office doors that play different music, dialogue, and unfortunately, a constant phone ringing and an understandably stressed office lady having to deal with the brunt of the flooding calls. Noise-wise for the attraction, just about the entirety of the ride is pretty darn loud, with some scenes being louder than others. The 2 times I rode the attraction to film these particular clips, I purposefully chose to not wear earplugs like I usually would on this attraction, so I could kind of gauge how intense the volume was, and at least for me, it was an unpleasant time. There are special effects for the ride that are physically felt. For example, in the Sound Lab, when they play the different sound tones, they use different speakers, so it sounds like it's more noticeable in one ear than the other, and it's a really trippy effect, at least for me. Then, after you see Figment and he says there's a train coming, the lights go out and a loud freight train sound blasts over the speakers, accompanied by a ton of wind blowing from one side. Because, you know, there's a train. The Smell Lab not only has the coffee smell pumped into the room, they have another hidden air cannon, so it's blasted into the room and the air blows into your face. This room is also fairly loud due to the slot wheel making dinging sounds. The Touch and Taste Labs are never visited in the ride, since Nigel Channing at this point has had enough of Figment's tomfoolery, but this just fuels Figment even further by having him drag you and the other guests into his upside-down open house, which unfortunately has a ton of overlapping noise, from the music to the TV to the kitchen sounds, the bathroom sounds, and the actual ride dialogue from the 2 characters that's basically drowned out by all the other surrounding noises. But by far the unintentionally scariest part of the ride, and I say unintentionally because I don't think it was trying to scare anybody, but honestly, this is the scariest part of the attraction, is towards the end. Eric Idle says that he now knows that imagination is best when it's set free, to which Figment says, "Imagination is a blast!" And at that point, the biggest air cannon in the ride goes off as the room explodes and goes dark, with the boom sound being the loudest sound in the entire ride. But then the lights come on and there's dozens of Figments in the super happy fever dream hellscape of Figment. And then just when you think it's done, you come across the second scariest part of the ride.
Is at the heart of all creation.
As much as I was giving it a lot of guff, it is at the end of the day a cute little dark ride that has some really neat Disney history behind it, and I do visit the attraction from time to time when I visit EPCOT, especially if it's particularly hot outside. I just make sure to go in with some earplugs in hand. Overall, it's not the most overstimulating visual experience for most of the attraction, with the exception of a couple scenes. There's only one show scene in the ride that has a particular smell pumped in. It is overall a really loud experience though, and as long as you go in knowing you're gonna feel some wind effects in a few scenes while sitting in a fairly spacious ride vehicle while mentally preparing yourself for the Eric Idle Moon, you'll do just fine. As a ride chicken, this gets the seal of approval for me, and this is Ride Chicken certified, even with Eric Idle Moon. If you made it this far, thank you for watching all the way through. It really does mean a lot to me. Follow along if you'd like to see more of these types of videos from me. Until next time, I will see you soon. Bye!